And welcome back, everyone.
Hi.
Este's already on here.
So is Carl. Carl, I hope you had a wonderful birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Carl. Este's already on here saying his brain needs this after today.
You know what? I can second that.
I understand.
I can second that.
After all the technical problems I had with the Runecast this morning, and now it seems like some of them might be bleeding over a little bit. But it's not too bad.
Hi, Michelle. Somebody named Michelle said greetings. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Yes, absolutely. So, rainy days and Mondays.
That sounds like a song from the 60s.
That, right?
Yeah.
A Moody Blues song or something.
Something like that.
No, that sounds like a Blues Traveler song.
Could be. Or
Well, it's
Simon
not.
and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Sounds of Silence.
Anyway, yeah. So it
is Monday. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird Monday. I don't know. I don't know. Mondays are weird to me just because everything's so not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know, but hopefully that'll pass.
Well, it will.
Yes, it will, one way or another. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We smoked some ribs and mowed the yard and replaced a water pump. Well, I didn't do that. Jeremiah did that.
Yeah, I've never in my life spent 8 hours, straight hours, under a car replacing a freaking water pump before.
You have now. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but it was funny because I just kept going out checking like, God, surely he's almost done, because I don't think anything vehicle related has ever taken you that long. Ever.
The space that I had to work in was so tight that to get the old water pump out, I actually had to take a pry bar to the motor to get the old water pump out and to put the new water pump up in there. It was insane. It's stupid. Who would build something like that?
Whoever made the Traverse, apparently.
Oh, my God.
Although, you know, guys, it is really handy, those of you who have an amazing spouse that knows how to do vehicle maintenance, because I bet we save so much money that we don't have to take our vehicles anywhere for maintenance.
We may be saving money on it, but it's taking it off of my life in years.
Well...
Yes, many bad words were said, Carl. Many.
Oh my goodness.
Many. I think I set a new record for the F-bomb that day. Oh my effing God! Are you effing kidding me? F my life.
Well, that's partly why I kept going out checking on you, because I thought somebody was here and you were talking to them. So, just saying.
Yes, but I found my 10 millimeter wrench.
Oh wow.
That's a new first.
Oh, wow.
Ask Carl. He'll tell you all about the 10-millimeter wrenches.
I'm going to take your word on it. So, did anything weird happen today for you?
It's just been kind of a weird day all day long.
Well, okay. Any synchronicities at all? Or coinkydinks or anything like that? Because I had one happen today that was very, very interesting. So while you're sitting there mulling that over, I'm going to tell you what happened to me.
Okay, go for it.
So today is May the 4th. By the way, May the 4th be with you. Of course, everybody was waiting for that. But that's not why it's... it is a great day, of course. But today actually would have been my grandma and grandpa's 69th wedding anniversary.
Uh-huh.
And it was weird because off and on all day I kept seeing a red bird, which was like, Lena has always said that, one way your grandma always pops in is through birds, because I don't have an affinity for birds. Corvids, yes, but like just regular birds, not really.
Right.
And so Lena, back when my grandma passed away, she was like, your grandma's going to come to you through like birds, like a bird's going to stick out to you. And that's kind of a sign that your grandma's around. And I'm like, okay, that's, of course my grandma would pick something that I'm not really that fond of. Right. It always bugged her too. But anyways, so I'm at a house today and this lady is there and I'd never seen her before. And all of a sudden we got to talking and she said, hi, I'm so-and-so with this company. And I said, wait a minute. Are you from El Dorado? She goes, well, yeah, I do live in El Dorado. And I said, oh my God, you knew my grandma. And she was like, well, what was her name? And I told her name. And she was like, oh, your grandma was one of my favorite people in existence. Like she knew my grandma for years and my grandma loved this lady and talked about her all the time. I never actually got to meet her when my grandma was alive, but it was so cool because today was my grandparents' anniversary and I met this lady today and she was telling me that over the weekend, my grandma had given her a fern, like a plant, years ago. And it was one that this lady had kept alive and all this time. And she said over the weekend, she pulled out that fern for the summer or whatever, spring, summer, whatever. And, yeah, I just thought that was like, what were the
on your grandparents' anniversary?
Yeah. On their anniversary,
That's
I
cool.
I met this lady who was super close to her and, but I mean, I'd never run into her before anything, but my grandma thought the world of her. But anyways, I just thought it was really, really cool because she was such a neat lady.
That's really cool.
Well, grandma was such a neat lady. And
yeah.
This lady that knew her also, grandma never said a bad word about anybody. Well, except her neighbor. And the lady, when I was talking to her today, she even made this, she's like, man, I know one thing, your grandma sure couldn't stand her neighbor. And I'm like, no, she couldn't. She hated that neighbor. Oh my God. Oh, it was bad. It was like something from a reality TV series.
Something you'd expect to see on the Burbs or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. At its finest, the Burbs. But anyways, well, I'm so glad all of you guys are tuned in and listening this evening on this Monday.
I wanted to say something for those of you guys that were listening and watching last week. I wanted to pop a question to you. Did you guys notice odd, extra strange voices coming over the stream last week? I have to ask that because I kept hearing them in my headphones. I've started twice now to go back and re-listen to the episode and see what I could analyze and isolate
with
out
Becky?
of it.
The one with Becky?
Yeah. But I haven't been able to actually sit down and focus on that yet. I keep getting interrupted, as happens with 5 little humans running around the house that are driving me slowly insane. But we'll talk about that another day. If you guys remember a specific instance of an extra voice or something that was out of place coming across the stream audio-wise last week, please send us a message and let me know so that I can keep an eye out for it when I do get the chance to sit down and do that, because I've really been kind of excited to do that, because, we had some weird stuff, like that kid's voice. Yeah. I have no idea where because all the kids were, when I went and checked, all the kids were inside.
Yeah, because you even got up because you thought one of them was out here.
Yeah. So, send us a message if you heard something and remember it specifically. Send us a message and let us know, the details of it as best you can remember. So, yeah, it was really cool.
Well, I am super excited for this show. We have an amazing person on this evening.
Yeah.
I've really been looking forward to this. He's just incredible. His wife's incredible. They make neat stuff too.
Yeah.
They make cool stuff. Go ahead.
His name is Argos Marinoctis, and with his wife, he runs Black Toad Apothecary, and they are based out of Iowa. And Esty said, check around the time you were sharing the pics of her family at the haunted places. Okay, I'll do that, Esty. So, but yes, Argos is an amazing individual. He is
talented,
very, very talented reader. I've never had the pleasure of experiencing one of his wife's readings, but Argos's reading was absolutely amazing. And I know you had an even more profound experience with yours than I did with mine. But he called out shit, on, pardon my language, on my reading that there's no way he should have known.
No.
And just from looking at bones, that's what he reads is the bones, which is really cool. Really cool.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, just from looking at the bones and listening to his guides, it's awesome. But
let's give him a call. Let's get him on.
Are you ready?
Oh,
are
yeah.
you ready? All right, here we go.
I was born ready.
We will give him a call.
I was born ready, right? Oh, it's happening. You'd think we were calling David Duchovny.
Hello.
Well,
hello there.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Can you hear us?
How's it going?
All right. How are you doing today?
Oh, not too bad.
We missed seeing you guys last month at KC Meta.
Boy, you're really fuzzy. I can't hear you.
Okay. Let me adjust a few things here. Maybe.
How about now, Argos? Is that any better?
Hello.
Is that better?
That's a little bit better. A little echoey.
A little echoey. That may just be the studio we're in. Let me see here. Make sure I've got all that down.
You'd think one of these times we'd have all this figured out ahead of time.
How about now? Is that better?
A little better.
Okay. Might have just been overloading the line there. All right. So, yeah, we missed seeing you guys at KC Meadow last month.
Say again?
We missed seeing you guys at KC Meadow last month.
Did you guys actually have it?
No, well, they did a virtual thing that I actually wasn't able to do readings for because of just other obligations that weekend. But they did a virtual thing, but we didn't actually get to be there in person.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think I saw something about that.
Are you guys staying open? Is your shop staying open through all this?
Yeah, we're doing just curbside at the door pickup stuff, but we're still maintaining.
Hey, that's great though. That's we always when all this hit, like we always started, super duper worried about all of our friends that have businesses and stuff, just because you never know, the ones that get to stay open and the ones that don't and everything. But I know in Wichita today, some things opened back up. Where you guys are at, did stuff start to open back up?
What was the last part of that?
where you guys lived, were things starting to slowly open back up today?
No, the governor opened up 77 counties at half of what they did before this whole thing, but we're not included in that, so we're still stuck doing curbside. We're still hanging out at home and stuff like that. But, I mean, it didn't really change too terribly much up here. You know, you can still go to the grocery store. You can still walk around town. It's really not a big change here anyway.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, we're glad that you guys are surviving through all this. Okay, so now I just can't. Okay, so tell us what you do and who are you and your wife, and just enlighten us here.
Well, my wife and I do kind of a lot of different things, but our main focus is obviously metaphysical. Me personally, I do a lot of things similar to, you know, y'all, and, you know, as far as like rune reading and stuff, except I use bones to do a lot of my readings, so that's what I'm pretty much known for. Aside from that, just we work for a store up here that caters to a lot of different things, but metaphysical as well, but we're still trying to open up our own brick and mortar as we speak, so but with the virus thing going on, I kind of put a little stall on that for a little bit.
Right. Okay, so you said, you know, you're known for the bone reading. So somebody that's never heard of a bone reading, because when I was telling people about, oh, you're going to have to check it out. You're going to have to check it out. You know, he's amazing. Him and his wife are amazing. Most people that I talked to really had no idea what a bone reading was. So would you mind explaining what exactly is a bone reading?
So with bones, like I said, it's similar to like what you would get with runes. It's one of the oldest forms of divination there is. But really, it's a complex thing. Getting, you know, you don't just pick up, you know, go to the store, buy a bunch of bones, and, you know, just start throwing them around. It's a little more than that. You've got, you know, it's very unique to the person that's doing it. You know, the bones that you use, you know, you want to, if you're on par with what you're doing, you're obviously asking whatever, you know, genuine spiritual energy that is attached to those, you know, is it all right for this purpose? You know, is this, you know, good standing with, you know, not only the unseen, but also with, you know, my path and so on and so forth. So it becomes a very personal thing, but realistically it works with, you know, energies, many different types. And when you're doing a reading with an individual, the energies connect with them, they connect with you, and then the bones kind of tell a story when they're laid out there. They don't have symbols or anything on them, so literally it takes you very deep. You're looking at which way the bones are laying, what your intuition tells you, so on and so forth.
Very intuitive.
Wow. So the way that you read bones, is that pretty, I don't know if I should use the word standard, but like if somebody went to you and got a bone reading, would they have the same expectation if they went to somebody else as to what to expect?
I would say no in general, because all readings are very, very diverse, and not one person's reading is going to be, you know, the exact same as, say, somebody else's. Maybe it's a different approach, but ultimately, you know, the reading would present, you know, what that person is searching for. So it can get very specific, or it can get into past lives. You can get into a lot of different, you know, avenues. It really depends on the person who's getting the reading. And so, yeah.
So how did you get into doing all this?
Well, bone reading was actually not what I started with. My whole family was, you know, my grandmother did palm readings. My mom did tarot cards. And I did both of those for a while, but it just never really spoke to me. My path was a lot different than what they were doing, but I still had that, you know, that expectation, that energy to do something similar, and bones really presented itself to me. Actually, it was kind of accidental. I've always had an affinity for, you know, bones and old things, and I actually had a bowl of them just sitting around, and I accidentally kicked it over, and my attention was immediately drawn to the way they were laying and stuff, and I just wondered, well, maybe I could, you know, utilize this and do this in this way. And then, of course, you know, years later, I came to find out that bone readings, you know, was actually something that had been done for, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years, and I wasn't special at all. Yeah, for me, it was a special start.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You know?
So
but I didn't have any book or tutelage or anything in that. There's just a natural affinity that became what it is, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be anyway, and it should be what calls to you, and that's how it happened.
Exactly.
Right. So your particular set of bones that you use, are they all animal bones?
I actually have several different sets for several different purposes, but I guess the one set that most people are enthralled with when I bring it to the shows is the one. It does contain some animal bones, but it also contains human finger bones.
Man, did you know the person's hand that the fingers came from?
No, I don't know them personally, but obviously before acquiring something like that, you make sure that it's okay with that individual, the energy that still remains there, that it's used for that purpose. But yeah.
Because, man, I will never forget that, Argos, when you gave me the bone reading and when you were like, it's a finger bone. And I mean, that stuck with me. I was just like a real finger, like a human finger. And I figured that that when you give somebody a reading and, they find out that's an actual finger bone, that people would be like in astonishment, like, where did you get it? Like, is it real? But do very many people ask?
Surprisingly, I'm on the same level as you. That was my expectations. But people, when they found out after the reading, they're just like, "Oh, that's really cool," and they asked no questions at all. I think you're the first person ever to actually ask me.
Wow, you hear that, honey? I was the first person ever. Hey, you know what? At least somebody asked. Okay, at least somebody asked you. But I mean, really, But I'm kind of like you. I've always been really, really drawn to bones, and I've always thought it would be so cool to learn how to articulate animal skeletons and stuff like that. I've never done it, but I think it'd be like really awesome to learn how. And man, that would be very tedious, I think. But yeah, the bone thing is just super fascinating, and I think it's just incredible, the type of reading that you do. Now, would you say could you? So when you do your readings, you have, I want to call it kind of looks like a lazy Susan. Like it's this round, like wooden thing, right? If I remember correct. Yeah. Like a turntable. And do you use that every time you do a reading?
Yeah.
So you kind of like spin it and then you throw the bones.
So I think, as far as without putting my foot in my mouth, I think that part is unique to me because I haven't seen anybody use a turntable, and most times, if you get a bone reading, if you're actually able to find somebody that does that, it's usually just on a simple mat that they have symbols drawn on. And for me, they said, if you're going to use me, you need to have movement. And so I utilize movement. And with the turntable, it's easy because if a person wants to look backward in their life or backward into previous lives, then I would spin the turntable counterclockwise to go in reverse.
Oh, wow.
And to look forward, I would move it the other way. It's just another focal point for me, but requested was movement, so that's what I came up with for movement.
That's very cool.
That's incredible. I would think that would be, I would think that would be kind of a, I guess not assumed, but it would be like a given that movement would needed to be included in a bone reading for going back or forward. That makes a lot of sense. I've never thought about it, actually put it into words or, thoughts, but you make a lot of sense when you talk about that because you're not gonna keep going, you're not gonna go clockwise to go backwards. That wouldn't make sense.
Right.
So what's your do you have a particular when somebody comes and sits in your booth or say, hey, I want a bone reading, most of the time do you get people that are like, okay, what is this? Or do I ask you a question? Or, okay, tell me what I need to know, or what does my future hold? Or, what's the main type of readings you get requests for? Past lives or what?
Honestly, it really is a mix. I get so many readings, especially when I'm at the shows. It really covers all the bases. I've got a lot of people that are repeat customers, and those clients want to look, all over the place. They want to go back. They want to go forward. They want to go present. They have specific questions. So it really does. It does go all over the place.
Well, I would also venture to guess that, once because you do, like with all of you readers, you get a connection with your clients and you're there to serve a purpose, to help them in some kind of a way, whatever that way they're looking for. You do what you can to help them gain knowledge or insight into something. But have you ever had a reading that afterwards they just were like really mad and like, screw this, I'm never doing this again? What are you talking about?
I've actually never experienced that with a client.
Well, that's
awesome.
good. That's
awesome.
Good. That's one thing I'm always like curious about, if people, if people are mad when they leave, but I guess if you're
that's always been a worry of mine too, that, especially when I first started out, are people going to be unhappy? Are they going to get pissed off? And just, I really learned to just go with the flow, because if you just trust your instincts, it really boils down to it's not being off. I do remember I had one person that was kind of skeptical, but they made sure to call me. I think it was maybe 2 weeks after the fact. They were like, oh my God, I caught him cheating or whatever like that. And it's one of those things that's really hard to put it out there in plain English. So that's what comes with readings, whether it's bones or anything else, because once you get on really sensitive topics, it's like, you just got to go and know that they're really seeking the truth. And there's a lot of, not truth out there displayed by people. And I like to be the opposite of what people generally expect.
Well, and I bet too, you have to bring up those tough conversations. I would think that would almost be like every time you do a reading, there's bound to be some kind of shadow work or something that's uncomfortable for people to hear, but it's stuff they need to hear.
It is stuff that they need to hear. And, but I think, I don't know, and maybe it's the energy that's brought to the table, or maybe it's the bones themselves that bring the kind of energy that allow for understanding. But when I use my turntable, there's a lot of spell work that goes into the creation of that is based around knowledge and understanding, because I wanted to alleviate any miscommunications ever. And when you infuse something like that, it really emanates that kind of energy, and that's exactly what I want my readings to be based off of. So that way, the people that are interacting with me are receiving that energy too. So it allows them to be, more open, more receptive, and to really see what's going on in front of them instead of turning a blind eye.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Do you have any special rituals or anything that you do prior to doing a reading for somebody?
I do. Most of my work, whether it's readings or any instruments that I use, there's always a sound meditation that goes into them. What type of cleansing is needed, and nothing is ever based on a specific line of practice. I just listen. This is what it really revolves around. Does it need this? Sometimes I'll sage. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes things want to be brought out into the moon. Sometimes things need to be buried in a graveyard. It depends on what I hear and what spiritual energy is talking to me. It's what it revolves all around, that connection to that specific thing. So everything is always different. So my ritual is always changing.
I love the fact that you brought that out, because it is, I think, so many times when people who practice other paths like we do, it's so easy for people to get buried in dogma that they lose the actual meaning of what they're doing, and to just be to just practice that being aware and being mindful and listening to the energy that's speaking to them is it's beyond important, I believe.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So when you do your bone readings, okay, because you do past lives and stuff, do you ever have like spirits come through into your readings, like to deliver messages, or not really?
It can happen. Usually when anybody sits down across from me, I kind of give them, it's not really a warning, but I let them know, your question gets answered, but bones go deep because I have such a collection of pieces in there. I have animal bones with human bones, but the resonation of that is, human beings are both human and animal alike. So you're going to get several different kinds of messages. They're going to come through, and it's going to take you on a bit of a whirlwind, a little bit of a trip, if you will, because you never know really what's going to pop up. I let people know that this can delve into past lives without you even wanting that. It's going to come forth. It's going to show you a lot of karmic stuff. It's going to show you everything. Unless you're very, very specific, it's going to come through. And so, I get a lot of that.
So how did you, when you got your, how long did it take you to get your collection of, okay, so with bone readings, is there a certain amount that, because like with runes, you're going to have 24, 25 if you use the Odin's chip, but if you don't use the blank rune, then you'd have 24. So with a bone reading, is there a certain amount of bones that you're supposed to use, or is it open-ended?
It changes constantly. When I'm getting ready to do readings, sometimes pieces, just like with cards, if a card flies out, if a bone falls out, it doesn't want to be there. They all talk to me constantly. So my different pouches are constantly shifting, changing from one into the other. I want to be in this one. I want to be in that one. They're constantly talking. They never shut up. It can get annoying. But, mine's a mixture. The one I bring to the show is generally human bones, animal bones. There's also roots in there. There's also a coin. There's many different things that make their way into the pouch ahead of time. But almost every time I do a reading, the pouch is changed at least twice.
Wow. So it's a living thing. Like it's continually evolving and changing.
Always.
Wow. Yeah. So you who's to say that you couldn't be walking along a path or something, look down and see something, be like, oh my God, that has to go in now. Like I have to add that to the mix.
It can be. It can be like that. The collection never stops. I've been collecting so cool. for years, and some pieces are just meant for me, and then some pieces want to go in, and then every once in a while I'll sit there with everything and they'll just select themselves, and they'll just hard to say. It's almost like, it's not that they glow, but it's just I really get the attraction of one to the other, and they pick themselves every time. So
sorry, I'm just in awe about what you're talking about. It's so really fascinating cool. And it's so accurate.
Yeah.
Can you do over the phone readings?
Yes.
You can? So you can do FaceTime, or you can do Skype, or any of those, or just, does somebody even can you just do it over the phone? Like, does there have to be a visual aid?
There doesn't have to be, no.
I want to get another reading, Jeremiah. I want to get another reading, Argos. Anybody who's watching, I'm serious. People, this guy is incredible and super accurate. And Argos, I'm serious to this day. I don't know if you remember, because you do readings all the time, and don't you love when people are like, oh, you remember my reading? No, you're not going to remember everybody's reading. But I do remember when you did my reading. I was so dizzy. I was dizzy after the reading. I was dizzy. How long after his reading was I dizzy? I was dizzy for, I don't know, a few hours.
Yeah.
Because we got done with you got done giving me that reading, and then the fair was basically like over that day, and then we went and ate dinner, and I was dizzy all the way through dinner. Like it was, and I've never been dizzy from a reading before or since, man. And it was just so, I don't know why it made me dizzy. But it probably had to do with the chakras or something. I don't know, but yeah, why is that a normal occurrence with your readings? Do people get dizzy?
I've had several people, and I sad to say, if I recognize the face, I'll recognize the reading. So like with you, working by night, and you got the wild witch all there, hopefully that path has been unfolding before you, because you got a long ways to go still. So that whole dizzy spell for you, I see that as past life awakenings coming full throttle right into this life.
Man,
well, it started actually before she had that reading. That reading was kind of confirmation of some of it, and then it hasn't stopped. It's been full steam ahead, and she's. There's been times when it's been overwhelming to her, but she's coming through. She's making leaps and bounds right towards where she's supposed to be, I think. So
slowly.
Good.
Slowly, but it can be overwhelming, and it can be so open-ended that you don't know which road to take. Does that make sense? Like, you can sit here and you can have 10 different people tell you 10 different, oh, well, I think you should kind of lean towards this, or I think you should lean towards this. And it's like, well, how do you know? You just, I guess when you find it, you just know the right path to go down.
That's really what it boils down to. You know, I had people ask me, well, which way should I go? I'm like, the way that serves you. Whichever way serves you best.
Right.
It doesn't matter which road you take. You're going to experience what you're going to experience on the way. The experience might differ, but you're going to wind up at the same ending. So,
yeah,
the outcome is the same. The means just might be different getting there, huh?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so yes. So how? Okay. So tell me, for anybody watching who wants a reading, because I'm sure there are people on here who are going to want a reading from you. How much do they cost? How long are they? How much notice do you need? All the above.
You know, usually over the phone, it can be pretty unique. Usually, I'm sitting at about $20 or $30 for 20, 30 minutes. It depends on everything involved. If it's a video or just regular phone call, I don't go outrageous. It doesn't get too crazy.
Okay.
very cool. And we're far from done with you, but we just want to kind of get this out of the way. So is like your Facebook page, Black Toad Apothecary, is that the best way to get a hold of you for that?
Yeah. So Facebook, Black Toad Apothecary. I also have my website. That's www.blacktoadapothecary.com. And I've got my phone numbers and everything listed, and my email and all that on there. So.
Dude,
cool.
with a name like Black Toad Apothecary, I remember when we first met you guys, and somebody said what the name of your booth was. I was like, man, that is the coolest name I've heard in a long time. Like, that's so, that just screams like somewhere where I want to see what all you've got going on, because just the name Black Toad Apothecary, come on, man. Like, how did you come up with the name?
So, well, the name, interestingly enough, I mean, obviously apothecary is, everybody's utilizing that kind of terminology for, herbs and holistic medicine, but the black toad, it comes from a couple different sources. One of the first sources for that, if you go way, way, way back, the black toad is actually an alchemical term for the transmutation of matter into something else, or the beginning of beginnings type of thing. When you think of, the abyss where all, possibility comes from, it was depicted in alchemical drawings as a black toad. That was the beginning stage of transformation.
Oh, very cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So later on, the black toad can be transmuted into traditional witchcraft, where there was, you'd accumulate, the specific bones of a toad. And it was really old folklore from over in the UK and Germany and stuff like that, to where that was the beginning stages of becoming the magician or the witch or whatever terminology you wanted to use. But that was one of the really, really old aspects of witchcraft. Not United States version, but old version, the medieval original style. So,
old school stuff, really old stuff.
Really old stuff, yeah.
Very cool.
Oh,
very
see,
cool.
now that we know a little bit of the history here, it makes it even that much neater, because that's incredible. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. You guys, so did you come up with the name, or did your wife?
I did.
That's great. I love it.
So how long have you been on the path that you're practicing?
Well, I mean, honestly, my whole life. I was, my folks were really involved with, like, the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley and all that, quote-unquote, high magic stuff. So I was very much raised in a magical household, taught, creative visualizations as a little kid. And when I met, I don't want to go down that road, but when I met my first group of Christians, quote, it was, like, very bizarre. I'm just like, wow, that's really weird. What are you talking about? So that was very bizarre to me, so...
That's more the atypical story, right?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely a different horse of a different color when it comes to being raised. We were definitely a different household.
I can.
You can identify with that.
Yeah, I can definitely identify with that on certain aspects. So yeah.
See, I, when I was little, I was like pretending I was a witch and making potions. I think every little girl, I saw a meme not too long ago, and it was like every little girl has the potential to be a witch, because what little girl doesn't want to go out and mix sticks and mud and, throw things in and make some kind of a concoction or whatever. And it's like, we should let the little girls be little witches, because that's what they're meant to be, right? Don't take it away from them. Don't take it away from them. Encourage it. Not. Encourage it.
Absolutely.
So the bone reading is that primarily your passion for what you do? Like, is that what you're passionate mostly about? What happened? There we go.
I mean, it's one aspect. I mean, there's a lot of things that I do, but bone readings really is the one that everybody knows about and really, knows me for, is the bone readings, I guess.
Rightfully so, man.
If you like, my own personal passions really have to do with, old world witchcraft and things like that. But those are all things that are very subtly my own, things done that I do in private. People do come to me for spell work and things like that from time to time. But ultimately, those are all very
cool.
So when you met your wife, before she was your wife, did she practice similar stuff that you do? Or did you guys kind of come, like you introduced her to it?
Well, funny, it's similar but different. We both, if anybody's familiar with the term hermetics, hermetics is basically like the foundation and the practice of magic, or the theory behind it, the science of the art of magic, or something like that, however you'd like to look at it. But she's very much into hermetics and alchemy. The macrocosm, basically the creation of the universe from a metaphysical standpoint. That's kind of her realm. So we do delve into similar things, but not quite the same.
Wow.
Very cool.
So I bet she's learned a lot from you, and you've learned a lot from her then.
Say again?
I said I bet you've learned a lot from her, and she has learned a lot from you.
Oh, most definitely.
You got the real broad spectrum on, the span of what you guys can offer people, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's just so cool. I just think it's incredible what you do, Argos. Like, I remember when we're at the fair and everybody's like, there's, 2 male readers, Jeremiah and then the guy over there, Argos. And I remember thinking, holy shit, I wouldn't want to piss that guy off. Oh my God. Right? I'm sure you get that a lot though, man. I'm sure you get that a lot. But then after, talking to you, after you talking to you and everything, it's like, no, he's just like a teddy. He's just like a teddy bear probably. He's just like the nicest. But so what about your kids? So your children, do you, is it kind of the same, like your kids, you are or are going to raise them in this path, or is it kind of like if they want to learn, you'll teach them, or how do you feel about that?
Well, so we kind of, obviously we leave it open. I'm not going to dictate to them what they should or should not believe in, but as far as what their, interaction with and stuff is, it's a very, I guess, I don't like terminology like pagan and stuff like that, because those are really just Christianized terms for people that think differently. But
right.
Essentially, we are a different household, and they will be raised, seeing what goes on in our home. And if they choose to go that path, great. And if not, they're gonna walk their path, and they're gonna find their way one way or the other. So they will definitely have the best of all worlds and dictate for themselves what they're going to do.
And that's kind of the way, or not kind of, that's actually
that is
exactly the way we look at it as well. You can't, while excuse me, while our kids are under our roof, we do kind of
we foster.
We expect them to be present for certain rituals and in that type of thing. But if they choose to look into and pursue other paths, we'll foster that as well as much as we're able to, because like you said, who are we to dictate that to them? Everyone has to find their own individual path and the energy that speaks to them.
Yeah. And, with our kiddos, I would say there's 2, possibly third one, that does show interest in the same path does show an interest in wanting to follow like what Jeremiah and I practice. There's a couple of them that they just kind of just participate.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because it's not for everybody, you know? It's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I just, every parent's dream would be like, oh yeah, my kids, they are following what I do, and that's so cool. We can pass it through the generations. But in reality, well, when you have a lot of kids like we do, you can't expect that they all are going to want to follow the same path.
Yeah, no, for sure. As long as they're well-rounded, as long as they know the truth of everything, then I'm good with it.
Yes, exactly.
That's something that we really work to foster in our own kids. I probably encourage this more than anything else, but just the ability to stop, take a step back, and look at the whole situation and not just the details that are right in front of them. No matter what it's got to do with, whether it's their life path, their spirituality, their
argument with their sibling.
The whole story, but that's just a principle that can serve you well in every aspect of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you have any special like rocks that you carry with you at all times, or is it kind of like your pouch of bones is with you at all times, and that's what you take with you wherever you go?
Well, much like the bones, that changes. Sometimes I don't go with anything. Sometimes something really wants to come with me. I really just leave it open to, if my ears prick up and I think of something right out the gate, then yeah, otherwise no.
So what about the opposite of that? Have you ever come in contact with something or a type of stone or an object that you just like repel, like, oh my God, I don't want anything to do with that. Get it away from me.
Well, I'll put it like this. My favorite stone, if I'm going to have a favorite, is Numite. And the one that I don't like is Moldavite.
Really? You don't like Moldavite?
No, that thing trips my trigger and sets me off. I can't stand it.
Oh my gosh, where's David Mitchell? Is he watching? Cause oh God, SD, I'm so sorry, man. Moldavite is my stone. Like, that's one of my favorites. Oh my God, I love Moldavite. I'm so sorry. Malachite's what I can't stand.
That doesn't deter me from, selling Moldavite. It's there, but I usually question the people that are buying it. I'm like, you really want
that? See, that's the way Stephanie would be with malachite.
Oh yeah. I do not dig malachite, which is so weird, but I just, nope, no thanks, not interested, don't like it.
I love malachite. Malachite is probably my favorite stone.
Well, I'll never forget
general.
Well, and for the longest time, I didn't even know what malachite like symbolized, and then finally one day I was repulsed by a stone. I saw a giant piece of malachite. It was a pretty big honking piece of malachite, and I finally like looked at the lady. I was like, "Tell me, what does this mean? Because I can't stand it." And she was like, "You don't like? Maybe you need a necklace made of it." And I'm like, "Well, maybe, but I don't like it." Anyways, David Mitchell said that he won't wear the Moldavite when the next time he sees you, Argos. Yeah, wow. Yeah, he said that. But anyways, but yeah, malachite is not for me, but it makes sense because of what malachite is used for. Makes sense why I don't like it, because I don't do well with change and transformation and but I think maybe I'm an alien, so the Moldavite that really sticks to me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Speaking of aliens, did you see the news? They who came out with they admitted UFOs or what, they released those videos. The government released the videos of UFOs. Did you see that, Argos?
The what?
Did you see that the government released something about the existence of UFOs? Did you see about all that?
Oh yeah, I really refuse to watch the news and all the bullshit involved. I just whatever.
But I was like,
gotcha.
I was like, damn. damn, the government admitted that they have footage of UFOs and it's not even making headlines. Like, what? That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So, I know you said in the bio information that you sent me, you said there's a lot of other services and products that you guys offer. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of that?
Okay. So, well, Anne, my wife, she makes Southern tradition hoodoo dolls. Basically, they're called spirit dolls. And she uses hickory, which is really in line with spiritual communication. Mm-hmm. And the little dolls that people can kind of like hang around their house, and they act a lot like scarecrows for your house. They just keep the negative energy out, kind of like similar to dream catchers and stuff like that. So they're a really neat tradition. They're a nice little hoodoo tradition from down in Cajun country.
Very cool.
Yeah. Lots of herbal products. I do my own brand of thieves oils, muscle and joint rub. I really embraced a lot of the old witchcraft stuff. So wart cutting or working with herbs and stuff is really my main forte, especially up here. So I do a lot with muscle creams, tinctures, herbal stuff to prevent and reverse diabetes, things like that.
Very cool.
Oh, wow. What about anxiety? Yeah. Do you or your wife make anything for anxiety?
Yeah, I've got a lot of, it depends on a lot of levels. One, I'm not a doctor, of course, but I grew up an herbalist, trained as an herbalist. So St. John's wort is probably number one on the list, but that's something that cannot be consumed if somebody's already taking an antidepressant. If they want to quit their antidepressant and then take St. John's wort, then yes, by all means, I do have tinctures and other such things. If they wanted to take something with their antidepressants, I do have very gentle teas that we offer for that, but there's a lot of detail that I need because it's a holistic approach. I like to take into consideration the whole body, not just what they're saying is wrong, because it all stems from something.
It's very personalized when you get a plan for somebody.
That's awesome. So it's not just and I think that's where that's what I like about folks that offer that kind of service there, Argos, is that you actually take a true holistic approach. It's not a one size fits all here. Take this 10 milligrams and that'll fix you right up.
You actually take an interest in the well-being of your clients.
Absolutely. There's the doctors are for creating prescriptions. I want to not I can't say the word cure, but basically if somebody gets off antidepressants and they take St. John's wort, it's for a short period of time and then their mind will actually mend. Same thing with different parts of the body. I don't want to cover it up. I want it fixed.
Right.
Oh, wow. You don't want to treat the symptoms. You want to treat the cause.
Exactly.
Did I say that right? Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
That's incredible.
What would you do? You have any resources that you would recommend for folks that are wanting to study this, like the holistic herbalism or this type of thing, in the manner that you practice it?
Well, honestly, the manner I practice it, like I said, it's really hard because I grew up with it, of people saying this does that, and then my own due diligence and research is really what it all comes to, but it's a lot involved. But coming up, I was already planning on having classes on things like this, but I'm more than welcome anybody who wants to shoot me an email about specifics. I'm more than happy to send them, authors, things like that. There's a really large list. It'd be way too much to cover, in the short time we have, but people are more than welcome to contact me for any of that information.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Very cool.
So contact you through your Facebook page or through your
Facebook, email on my website, whatever they find.
Okay. And we can put another link.
Yeah, I'll put
because I'm sure that there are multiple people in here that are very curious and want to know more about you guys. Black Toad Apothecary. I just love how that flows. Black Toad Apothecary.
Yeah.
I just love it. Like it seems like the title of a haiku or something. I don't know. I love it.
So, I just want to shoot this out to the people viewing right quick. I've got the chat up here where I can see it, so if any of you guys have a question, we've got about 25 minutes left in our time with Argos. If any of you guys have a question you want us to ask him, throw it up in the chat, and we'll see if we can't squeeze it in.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, while we're waiting for some of that to come up, what do you, and I think I probably already know kind of the answer to this, or at least at least an idea of it. But for the sake of the folks at home, what do you feel is what's the words I'm looking for? Okay, so in all this in the by and large positivity culture that we have nowadays, I see a lot of times where that seems to kind of almost come off as a weakness or a downfall sometimes, because it doesn't take into account the whole aspect of who we are, because no one that you see walking around is a 100% positive person. So I think that positivity culture can actually sometimes do a little bit of harm in causing people to deny certain parts of themselves. What do you think about that?
See, that's something I've come across a few times, and usually, I won't lie, I've come across it in a very negative context. Now, all to one side is also negative. If you're all, to the only good, turn the cheek and everything like that, I mean, you do that enough, and that you're going to wind up with a negative outcome. You have to embrace both, just like with, witchcraft, in which case, certain individuals can argue until they're blue in the face, but there is the cure, and then there is also the curse. You have both sides of the same coin. You have to take positive with negative, because just like in the world, just like even in nature, it may be beautiful, but it's also brutal, and you have to realize that both things exist. If somebody attacks your family, do you turn the other cheek? Absolutely not. You blast their ass, magically or otherwise. Plain and simple. You don't think about it, you don't wonder. It should come to you naturally. If you are on the correct
yes,
path
it does.
and on the path of understanding and truth, and you will know that certain individuals deserve a smack right upside the head, physically or otherwise. And I do not believe in any threefold or tenfold thing. I think that was all created as a fear tactic, just like everything else, to keep people from using their true abilities to the fullest. And yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. And it all has to come in a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You can't just throw if you. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If you just embrace the whole of the positivity culture and try to leave behind all negative, because okay, so I'm speaking from a physics standpoint. The universe runs on negative energy. I mean, it does. Electricity is negative energy. The light is generated by negative energy. The universe runs on negative energy.
Right.
So but that's not saying that, because if you didn't have the positive energy, the negative energy couldn't be generated, and vice versa. So it all has to be taken in balance. And I know I'm fumbling all over my words here. I can't think of the right things that I'm trying to say, but it's just trying to emphasize that the whole thing has to be taken in balance. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater either way.
Like a symbiotic relationship between the two. You have to have both.
Yeah.
You have to have both. Hey, we have 2 questions.
Okay.
Okay, Argos. So Emma would like to know what your favorite tarot card is and of what deck, if you have one.
What my favorite tarot card is and what deck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, picking my favorite deck, that's a kind of a hard one. So I'm going to go with the first one I ever had, which was Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, and it would have to be the Devil card.
The Devil.
Okay.
Mine's the Death card. That's my favorite card, which is a little ironic considering what it means, but that's okay. It seems like first time I ever drew a tarot card, it was Death, and I don't know. I have an affinity for the Death card. What it symbolizes, I mean, it's not a negative card, you know?
Right.
Well, I mean, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. Anyways, okay, next question. David would like to know if you prefer doing readings inside a metaphysical fair environment or a one-on-one in a daily type environment.
Okay, say it one more time.
Do you prefer doing readings inside a metaphysical fair environment or just one-on-one in a daily type environment?
I'm very versatile. I'm good with both, but if I actually had to pick my preference, I think one-on-one, his second option, mainly because metaphysical fairs can get really, really loud.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can kind of get a little bit turbulent, but I think in a quieter environment is better, but I can easily function in both.
Okay. Those are the two questions we had for you. And then another viewer, her name is Kenna. She said she has lots of questions. She would definitely expect to hear from her. She's pretty incredible. Just saying. She actually got me a Moldavite necklace for my birthday last year.
Just don't wear it when we see Argos next time.
Right. Okay. Esty has a question. He said, when you are reading bones or when you started, where did your intuition draw you to? Was it in the species it came from, a symbol you see, a picture that makes a picture they make as a whole? How would you describe the quote unquote flow of your intuition with them? Do you want me to rephrase that? It's kind of long. Sorry.
Yeah, if you could.
Jeremiah, rephrase that. I was getting stumbling over reading it. I think I need glasses. Did I say that? Must be getting old.
I think maybe he's asking what drew you to the. You told the story about how you started reading bones, but when you were collecting your bone sets, what drew you to the specific bones that you ended up utilizing? Maybe.
Gotcha.
Correct me,
Gotcha.
Esty. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I'm reading your question. Go ahead, Argos.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a long answer. So, like I said, there's many different parts, but if you're talking about the original bag of bones that I picked to read with, stemmed from the bucket that I had, accumulated over time. And it really was the energy. It was, as silly as it sounds, was pick me. And the affinity I had, is very similar to, it felt like a friendship, a connection. It was very personal. It was very deep, and it was very whisper in your ear type of scenario. And it's still like that when I go from pouch to pouch and from show to show. But it's always been like a faint whisper, and I always know because I kind of have my hair stand up on end whenever it happens, even to this day. And it's a communication in its purest form is really what it boils down to.
Right.
Okay.
It's like when I'm carving a new set of runes, there'll be a medium that calls out to me that I want to, I connect really well with that, and I want a set of runes made out of that. Like right now, I've got about 3 or 4 different sets in process that I'm kind of battling back and forth between the two. But I've got a beef bone set and another antler set and I'm getting ready to start on a set made out of walnut chips or walnut wood chips, but the medium calls to me, number one, but then number two, it's like I'll literally sift through the like we've got a whole big ass shoebox tote full of
antler tips carved
that,
or you've cut, sliced, or
I will go and I'll sift through all 3, 4, 500 of those just to find the 24 for my set. And
see, and the way I do it,
I know it. It's like almost it's almost I almost have to touch them. And I know it when I feel them.
See, and that's like when I've carved the sets that I've carved of the sets that we sell, I literally, it's just like I'm putting my hand in a bag of runes and pulling one. So like, I'll be like, all right, for Hagalaz, okay, which one's going to be Hagalaz? And I'll draw, I'll pick one. And that's one that's supposed to be Hagalaz.
Yeah.
It's just that feeling you get like, oh, there it is. You just know.
And even when I'm carving sets to sell, it's a lot like that. It's not as personal, but they will, they'll tell me which ones belong together in a set versus, which ones should be left out for now. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And the same thing, like somebody told me, hey, I should have bone pouches to sell. And so I created some, but when I created them, I was having some, negative effects of it. Like, I'm picking for somebody else. So when I switched it up, I did ritual with it and created a formula that's all about, okay, this is where you begin and let it inspire. And I left it at that. So that way it could be an inspiration to, open themselves up and add what they need to add, or be done with it altogether as just a trial run. And then they know exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Okay,
so we have a clarification on Este's question a while ago. He said, I guess, what did your intuition teach you to look for in them? Is it a knowing, or do you hear your intuition tell you the message, or is it more of a knowing?
Definitely, I wouldn't use the term annoying. I would say it's very much intuition, but it's more than that. It's almost like a whisper in the ear, but it's really hard to explain because I've been asked this before, and it's like a whisper. It's like I know, but your first instinct is to second guess it, and then I just stop doing that. It's really the best way I can explain it.
Okay, that makes sense. We have another question. Michelle wants to know, do you practice your bone reading and ceremonial magic solo or with groups?
If I practice it solo or what?
Or with groups.
With
groups?
I didn't catch the last one.
More than one person, like a group?
Oh, gotcha. I've done both and can do both.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, another question is, are the bones and runes like tarot in that they should be gifted to you, or is it okay to make or buy your own set?
Yes. It boils down to still everybody's unique and different. It's whatever calls to that person, whatever they're drawn to do. If they don't see, going on a walk and finding bits and pieces as they go, then, purchasing one is perfectly all right. You'll find your way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, oh, that's a dog. Okay. I was going to say, as far as the runes specifically, I mean, you're the bone master, but I'll speak as far as the runes specifically. A lot of times, just like Argos said, yes, it's perfectly fine to go either way, to have them gifted to you, to find and make your own or to purchase a set, because it's all about finding the energy that you connect with and the energy that can speak to you.
Absolutely. And if you're gifted something like that, I see that as a huge sign in and of itself.
Right.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
okay?
I was fine. I was just thinking, I don't know, I was having a moment, but I was just thinking about the mass-produced rune set. First rune set I saw was the one you get at Third Planet, has the really ornate bag that they come in, their wood slices or whatever, and then you evolve from there. But I would imagine that most people, after they really fully understand how to do this stuff, I would think, especially with bone readings, you would want to compile your own set. Like, I would think that because you would have a connection with your set that you're not going to get, I wouldn't think, from one that somebody gives you. I mean, I don't know, maybe. But I would think you more so would want to pick your own parts and pieces.
Well, I mean,
I would say so too, but I also think it's also circumstantial. I mean, if for some reason you know somebody that throws bone and they think enough of you to hand you a bag of bones, I would take that as a huge blessing. Not that your bones won't change over time, because anybody I've ever met, which is very far and few between, that has ever thrown bones has always accumulated, discarded, and accumulated more constantly. So one thing that seems to be the same is it's always changing.
Have you ever had a tooth in your mix of things in your bone readings?
A tooth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I just extracted a whole bunch of teeth out of a skull. Deer skull, mind you. Like a few days ago. I'm all excited about it. I'm slowly compiling my set that I'm going to some way, somehow figure out how to use in some kind of reading something.
Definitely.
I'm really drawn to the teeth, though. That's my thing.
She always has been.
Always have
drawn
been
to teeth. She's
teeth.
gonna have a big bag of teeth that she's gonna throw and read.
Yep.
So, and I think it's gonna be cool, and I think it's gonna be amazing.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know why the teeth thing, but I don't know, they just speak to me.
Well, I think Lena told you something about that one time, didn't she?
Well, yes. Lena has told me everything that has been correct so far. Anyways. Well, okay. Well, Argos, if somebody's teetering on the idea of getting a bone reading, what would you tell them to make them teeter on over the edge and get one? Honestly,
go with your gut.
Okay.
That's it. Go with your gut. First thing that comes to mind, go with it.
That is actually that's hard, because I know that sometimes it's just hard to actually recognize what your first initial reaction or response is. You know what I mean? Or especially with trying to decipher your intuition with, I don't know if you and Jeremiah, when you're doing readings, if that's something that you master when it comes to trusting your first, don't second guess yourself. Is that something that has just always come easy for you?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It was most difficult when I was doing cards and stuff like that, because one, those weren't really my medium. But I could do them just fine. It's if you're starting off, it's always going to be difficult to just trust. Learning to trust yourself is one hell of a feat in whatever you do, reading or otherwise.
Yeah. It's as far as recognizing your intuition and learning to interpret it. That's it's just like anything else. That's a skill that you develop with practice.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, cool.
So, it is coming up on 8:15 here. Is there anyone in the chat that has any last thoughts for Argos? Do you have any last thoughts for Argos?
Dude, thank you so much for being on. This has been incredible. I want to get another reading. Do you do couples readings?
What's that?
Do you do couples readings?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done quite a few of those, actually.
Dude, Jeremiah and I should totally get a couples reading.
We need to check that out.
You bet. Anytime.
Very cool.
We're going to do that.
Okay.
I'm like,
we'll
we're going to do that.
We'll be in touch on that.
Yeah,
we'll definitely be in touch on that.
We will be in touch on that.
Argos, thank you so much for coming on and spending the last hour or so with us.
One more question.
Oh, we do have another question?
Yes, Yanni. Hi, honey. I just love her so much. So she wants to know, how do you know which bones tell you what?
How do I know which bones to get?
No. Like, how do you know which bone tells you what? Like, how do you know that it's the finger bone that's going to tell you whatever it's going to tell you?
Oh, they all come into play. And it's really, once again, it boils down to intuition, but you have to start noticing the patterns of the bones you work with. How they lay is all going to tell some kind of story. You know, if a bone lays across another one, that could show something's blocking your path. It could show stop, wait, listen. It could show any number of things. It's all about meditation and just falling into what you're doing. That's the best way to put it.
So do your meanings for your particular bones you use constantly change, or is it pretty much that I don't know what all bones you had, but they all pretty much have a specific purpose, or does it change?
No, they always change. No reading is ever the same. The same bone never means the same thing. I've never had that happen.
Wow.
That's really, really incredible, because, that's actually like, I don't know, that's really impressive because, with most types of divination, like, one means one or two means two, or you know what I'm saying? Like, certain symbols mean this and it doesn't shift. Whereas when you're doing a bone reading, would it be really hard to teach somebody to do bone reading?
Honestly, it depends on the person. I've never actually sat one-on-one and taught somebody to read bones.
Oh, wow.
I would think you would have to have...
I really don't. I think a physical teacher is really maybe the first step and not the second. I think really you tell somebody, I mean, if anybody's listened to this, they already know enough. It's trust yourself and the bones will teach you themselves. It's a physical teacher is not necessary.
Oh, wow.
That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. That was really well put, by the way. Well, cool. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for being on and tell your amazing wife hello.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll have to, we'll be in touch, as I'm sure there's a few people on here that I'm pretty sure are intrigued and are going to reach out to you. So there is that. And yeah, whoever reaches out, you won't be disappointed. I swear to you, you won't be disappointed.
Right. Yeah.
To say the least,
give him a shot. He will amaze you. So yeah, absolutely.
All right,
thank
cool.
you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Argos, and
pleasure. Always.
You and your family take care and be safe. And
we'll be putting your all of your links for your pages and website up on the video description after the show's over. So anyone that wants to get a hold of him, just keep an eye on the video description, and we'll have that information up for you. So, Argos, thank you so much, and we're going to let you go so we can wrap this up. But once again, thank you so much. We'll have to do it again.
All right, absolutely, anytime.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Care. You as well.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was so cool.
Really cool.
That was
really
so cool. He's just so knowledgeable, and you can definitely tell, like, he knows what he's talking about, and you couldn't get past that guy. Like,
no.
You couldn't pull the wool over his eyes.
He's not afraid to call bullshit either.
Well, I think that is part of what makes him a good reader.
Yeah.
Is he's very, very honest, very upfront. You know, he's not afraid to say the things that, you need to hear.
Yeah.
And seriously, people, check him out, look him up, get a reading from him. I don't know if it would make you dizzy like it made me dizzy, but cool buddy. Because, according to him, I was one wild witch in multiple lifetimes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bled over to this lifetime. And, he's not wrong.
Yeah. He didn't say much about past lives in my reading, but my questions were all more looking forward than backward. So,
and see, I didn't have a question when I got my reading from him. I just was like, okay, this is all new to me. Just show me what you got. Just let's see what the bones tell you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when you throw the runes, you call them bones. Okay, let's throw the bones. Is that because long ago they carved runes into bones, or what?
That was because someone that I learned from called it that.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. So she called it throwing the bones, but she did both. She threw the actual bones, but she also threw the runes.
What kind of bones? Do you know?
Just like with Argos,
a medley?
it was a medley of bones, mostly bird bones, but
okay.
There were other things in there. I do specifically remember a tooth at one point in time. So
deer teeth are really hard to get out of that jaw, man. They are in there. I'm serious. Like, I had the pliers and I was going, oh my God, I can't even, oh, I'm so sorry, dear. Like, this has got to, oh God, that would hurt so bad to yank somebody's teeth out. Oh my God.
But just for clarification, it was a long dead deer's skull.
It'd been dead. Well, it's been dead a long time.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was like, I'm taking the teeth out. It's time to extract the teeth. So, in the process of that, but I was a weak weenie, man. I had to use Jeremiah's muscles to get the some of those teeth out because they just were not coming out of that jaw.
Some of them. You got a lot of them.
I got some of them. I got some of them, but I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about my teeth collection. That's so bizarre. It's just when you really think about it. Oh yeah, she wants to collect teeth. At one point I was like, oh, maybe I should keep all of my kids' teeth and use that to make a set. And I was like, oh no, that's
weird.
That's just crossing a line. I think the tooth fairy might get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? The tooth fairy might get mad at me stealing the kids' teeth. Although what's funny is one of my kiddos, the older two, when one of them was younger, they ended up with $20 bill because they put their tooth under the pillow for the tooth fairy, and Mama forgot to get change at the bank. So all the tooth fairy had was a $20 bill. And boy, they were sure excited next morning when they woke up.
Oh, very cool, Esty. I just got a scroll saw too. I bought it off of Marketplace. I'm excited to use it.
Dude, every time that I find something on Marketplace and I send a message, it's either not available or I have yet to ever buy something off Marketplace. I'm just not lucky enough to see it when it posts or offer the right amount or whatever. Maybe I need to go to Craigslist instead. I don't know. I could.
No comment on the Craigslist thing. I don't trust Craigslist, but that's just a personal thing for me.
So on a totally different topic, we're considering getting a critter. Of some kind. Don't know what yet. Not a snake. I'm not getting a snake. I'm not having a snake in my house. One of the girls really wants a snake, and I'm like, nope, I don't want a snake. No thanks. I'll get a tarantula, but one of the girls would absolutely... Oh, she would never come back to our house if we had a spider in a cage. Oh, my gosh. Esty said there's an entire documentary about why you shouldn't go to Craigslist. Okay, Esty, I'm not even going to watch it, and I just won't go to Craigslist. I'll take your word on it. But yeah, people, so I don't know, send me ideas of really cool little critters we could get for a little aquarium. I don't want any kind of an animal that you put in a cage like a hamster or a a bunny or anything like that. I don't want an animal like that.
She has an issue with caged animals.
I don't like animals being caged, which is so ironic because all growing up, I was never allowed to have any kind of an animal in a cage because my mom drilled it in my head that it was cruel. Well, guess what? Now I'm a parent, and no, we're not having any pets in cages because it's
driven
cruel.
In your head.
Exactly. I just not interested. Not interested. But anyways, well, that's all I got, guys.
Well,
that's all I got. Hope y'all are staying safe and continue to wash your hands.
Yeah.
Often.
Wash your hands. Social distance, all that good stuff.
I feel like Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day. Another day of quarantine. I tell you. Anyways.
We are. So is it a bad thing you talking about bones while I am chowing down on ribs? We had ribs just about 20 minutes before we came out here, Carl. So no. In fact, I have a whole bunch, probably 5 or 6 racks worth of rib bones sitting out there cleaning and drying, bleaching in the sun. So
we're those people. Every time I'm driving down the road and I see a dead animal, I literally think, oh my God. Oh my God, what a waste of perfectly good bones.
I need to haul some contractor bags around with me.
I know,
so
right?
I can pick it up and bag it up and take it home and bury it.
Take it home, bury it, and let, yep.
Harvest the bones.
Exactly.
I've had those thoughts a lot.
It was so bad. Like, he put some mouse traps out. And I'm like, hey, next time that you catch a mouse, can we just bury it and then keep the bones? It's like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Well, hey, Lena.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Lena. Lena got on there.
I'm adding you to a group for that. Roadkill once.
I'll take your roadkill.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Well, guys, we better.
Thank you for watching with us.
Wrap this up. Next week we will be back on Wednesday, and then.
We will?
Yes.
Man, we're playing like Spin the Wheel of Jeopardy here.
Yeah,
with our,
it's crazy.
podcast night.
I think it's.
Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of along for the ride with Jeremiah's schedule.
Yeah,
for
my
work.
schedule's kind of wonky this month,
but it is wonky.
Next week we will.
Just keep an eye out.
Next week we will be back on Wednesday, I believe. I'll have to verify that and make sure. And then after that, I believe we're probably going to end up settling back on Monday from here on out, I believe. We
got our babysitter issue solved.
Yeah, and my work schedule has flopped around. I changed my work weekends so that I could be home with the kids on the weekends that we have them, which is a good thing, but it just kind of threw everything else into some turmoil, so we're having to straighten all that out, and that's why we're having to kind of bounce around with Darkness Live a little bit this month. But like I said, next week we should, I believe, be back on Wednesday. But then after that, we'll be settling back on Monday. Hey, Lena, don't worry about it. The show's still there. It'll still be there, so you can still watch it.
There you go. There you go. Again, to all of you people, may the 4th be with you. I love saying that.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
In the meantime,
hey, Debbie.
You guys.
Debbie's watching. Hi, Debbie.
Hop on over to the YouTube channel. I'll post a link on another page. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
And that way we can, you can be notified.
Yep, notified.
Notified when we go live on YouTube, but not necessarily on Facebook, because it does happen on occasion, and it will happen on occasion. So it's best just to be notified each way.
Well, you guys stay safe, and if you see any cool roadkill, just save it for me. Save it for me.
Like and share this video, and we're going to let you guys go, and you guys have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be afraid of the dark.
Ooh.
We'll
bye.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Now let me find the right scene. There we go. Bye, y'all.
That's all she wrote.